You're talking the buyer side, because I still roll my eyes, bang my head, do all sorts of things, because some salespeople still want to do sales to people. There is a sales process. Do sales to people. There is a process. We do that, then we do that, and we do that, and we do that, and we put it in the CRM. We've done those things to people, which it might be aligned to buying process. I don't know. Maybe the better ones are.
You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a modern approach to winning business, the application of virtual selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. Why not take our free collaborative selling scorecard to see how your sales approach suits today's environment? You'll find a link in the show notes.
So welcome to this podcast mini-series where I am joined by Paul Fernandez. Paul's co-founder of Growth Guys. And the podcast series, we started talking about it as SquiggleThink. That's just a word that we both use to talk about this messy buying journey and the way that sales and marketing have got to come together to probably work closer than ever before to make sense of it.
Definitely.
So SquiggleThink, Paul.
SquiggleThink.
Yeah, just explain it a little bit better than just the messy journey. What's making it messy? What's going on?
I think it's one of those things that people have been talking about. You know, we talk about the buying journey, and it's not linear. You know, we want everything to be straightforward. We do, because that's easy for us to comprehend, isn't it? But you as a sales professional, me as a marketing professional with a sales background as well, we know that's just not the case. People jump through hoops. Gestation periods of sales, can be months and months, or it can be weeks and weeks at a time. The sales journey is, the marketing journey, and the sales journey is just not linear. You know, we have to take into account that, let's use it as an example, for instance. I use this example of buying a dishwasher. You only become problem aware that you need a new dishwasher when your dishwasher breaks, but you don't know that it's broken until you go to place the plate in. Mm-hmm. You go to fill it up. So you become problem aware, and then you're like, okay, damn, I can't do my dishes in the dishwasher anymore. So you go away and you start looking for new dishwashers. But you then, what do I need? Well, I don't want that one again. I need an upgrade. I need the next one along. Or if that served you well for a number of years, you might go, yeah, I'll just get a similar one again. But you've got to go through that process of going, I need a dishwasher. This is the one I need. So you become solution aware, and you have to go through the buying journey of becoming problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and moving through that journey. And it's just messy because one night you're looking at new dishwashers, then life happens. You forget about it, or you need to put the kids to bed, or you need to go out and get some milk from the shop or whatever, and you've forgotten about it. It's only then when you come around the next day you go, oh, damn, I was meant to be looking for a dishwasher. And you start then comparing products, and then you start comparing prices, and it takes days and days and days potentially to buy a new dishwasher. So what about products, and what about services that cost tens of thousands? How long does that take? What do they need to see? How do they become aware of it?
See, I'm wondering if there might be some salespeople watching this and already are having some light bulb moments.
I hope so.
Because you're talking the buyer side, because I still roll my eyes, bang my head, do all sorts of things, because some salespeople still want to do sales to people. There is a sales process. Do sales to people. There is a process. We do that, then we do that, and we do that, and we do that, and we put it in the CRM. We've done those things to people, which it might be aligned to buying process. I don't know. Maybe the better ones are.
I think if you're not thinking about the buyer, you're not in sales.
There's a lot of people not in sales then.
Yeah, if you're not thinking about, sales is more than just the conversation of, do you want to buy this thing? It's understanding how the buyer moves. And, it's a case of, well, what's the next logical step for them to take? How do we make them become aware? How do we make them product aware? How do we make them realize, and I think about it in terms of the 4 buying types, in terms of the consciousness of buying. Uh-huh. You've got unconscious buyers, subconscious buyers, conscious buyers, and then hyper conscious buyers. And it's a bit more of just an elevation of the buying journey, but it's looking at those specific buying types. Unconscious, for instance, you've got impulsive buyers, people who will just go, I could do with a new dishwasher, or I saw a Facebook ad for a new dishwasher. Yeah, I could do with a new dishwasher. 300 quid, think nothing of it. Yeah, fine, go for it. That's unconscious buying. That's just no thought other than impulsivity and maybe habit. Then you go all the way to the other end.
Unconscious, conscious was next. No, subconscious.
Subconscious is next. Yeah. Then you've got conscious buyers. Yeah. Then you've got hyper-conscious buyers. So when you're thinking about hyper-conscious, you're thinking about, the types of people that might buy a Patagonia t-shirt.
Okay.
They're not just buying it for the product. They're buying it because it's product for change. They know they like the owner, they like the company and what it stands for, the brand values. They're hyper aware of what this t-shirt is and what it means. It's not just to serve a purpose. It's much, much, much beyond that.
Okay. So I'm just trying to make in my head the transition into B2B sales. That's where I spend most of my time. I would expect that normally they're in conscious or hyper-conscious.
I definitely agree with that.
But I was smiling when you were talking through the kind of the phases, and I'll probably get different language, but it's how we talk about sometimes the buying cycle where it's, I have a need. Oh, I must specify criteria. I must evaluate my options. They aren't going through a buying process, ticking stages on a buying journey, knowing that is what they're deliberately doing. I don't think. I mean, some cases, procurement, they might be very, very aware of it.
Procurement, definitely. There's a box ticking exercise that they need to do. Does it meet this price requirement? Are they, do they have this level of ISO agreement? All those kinds of things when you're talking about B2B. But the person who becomes aware that they need that solution is not then the person they will more than likely be the person that will sign off on it. But you've got this whole middle journey of account managers, procurement managers, whatever, within that journey that need to make all those decisions of, well, who do we use for this? Who do we ask for a proposal? How do we go out to tender? Those types of processes, where there's people involved. It's a massively moving thing, isn't it?
Well, this is where the process gets messy, isn't it?
It is. And
people. Take people out, be perfect.
Yeah. Because people buy from people, don't they?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, unless it is a sort of tender exercise where it's box ticking, but who gets invited? When they go out to tender, who gets invited then to propose, for that contract? And that usually is potentially people within the network, people they've used before, people they've been using. You look at the NHS, for instance, when they go out to tender, when they're looking for a new contract, it's usually a list of chosen suppliers. Yeah. And then they have to repropose. I could be wrong, might have changed.
Well, I think if everything is the same, you're right. But stuff isn't the same. We're in a massive period of change. I mean, change is constant anyway. So the people getting invited are probably the ones which are stimulating that awareness and are saying, hey, look, this is a way you can do certain things now, or here are things that you should be thinking about doing because of what's going on in your world.
We need to awaken the consciousness of the buyer. That's the way I think about it. And it doesn't matter whether that's B2C or B2B. We need to awaken that consciousness, awaken that need for, whether or not they're using an existing supplier. So let's put it in the example of marketing, for instance. Someone who already has an agency, they're not necessarily looking for another agency because they're happy. But then someone comes out and starts talking about their values, their principles, or this new tactic that they're using for someone like them, that might go, oh, I'm interested in that. I might ask them to do a free audit. And then all of a sudden, that piece of content that they've seen has awoken in them, are going, oh, I like that. I like that train of thought, or I like that process. Let's let's have a free audit. Let's invite them to come and have a look at what we're doing. Because it's not necessarily that they were out there looking for another agency, but something was awoken within them.
So we must awake the consciousness. Whose job is it to do that? Sales or marketing?
Oh, that's an amazing question. So
What
traditionally,
everyone's wanting to hear now.
traditionally it's marketing, isn't it?
Well, it's sales, isn't it?
Traditionally, it's marketing, isn't
Traditionally, it's sales. Sales got to knock on the door and talk about things.
it? See, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive.
Normally, really, but
That's what we're talking about now,
Yeah.
though, isn't it? Is that actually, because you would ask a salesperson, wouldn't you, to make the cold call? You
Yeah.
wouldn't ask a marketer to do that. So what are they armed with? How do they awaken that consciousness of the buyer in the cold call, for instance, as a tactic? Cold calling. They need to be armed with the problems. Our clients are experiencing, or they were experiencing, these problems before they signed with us. Does this sound like you? That's a marketing proposition. That's what you create your whole marketing content on, is around those problems, the pains. And
that the customer is experiencing, might experience, could experience. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Then how does
But what do
marketing find out the problems?
existing account managers, sales?
I mean, we could play this game all day and kind of go round and round.
I think we should play this game all day.
Well, that's the whole point of the podcast. But I think the point we're making is it's about, if we're not working closely together, if we're not feeding off each other's information, if we're not aligning on this stuff and trying to go at this issue that we have, which is awakening the consciousness together, we're just going to make life more difficult for ourselves.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it would be really nice, and I'm sure there's some companies out there doing this actually, and I'd be interested to see the ones that are doing this. But having sales, like a team of sales trained people, actually having personal brands, actually having a content marketing strategy. I see a few, but they're individuals. They're individuals that help like yourself a little bit, actually. Individuals that go and help other companies become more sales orientated, and then arming them with the marketing know-how to be able to go and put that message out there. So I think as much as marketing is like the signal engine, and sales are kind of like the sieve mopping all of that up, it should kind of be the other way around a little bit. Sales should be armed, like marketing should be there to arm the sales guys with the armor and the weapons that they need, if you're looking at it from an offensive point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I have to draw to make sense of stuff. You can see I'm doing that there.
great.
And what I'm drawing there is like marketing are creating this pool of stuff, tons of stuff, looking at a market in general,
Yeah.
cluing the name. The salesperson is saying, this is awesome, but in my particular part of it, those couple of things that you're giving me, that's what they're going to respond to. That's what I'm going to take, but I'm going to put it into my words because I want it to come from me, because I'm the one who's got to sit in front of the customer. And I want them to kind of respect me and think, yeah, you're the guy who gets us. And also I speak that customer's language. I know how to say it to them.
Yeah.
So that would be a brilliant scenario, wouldn't it?
Well, you're kind of delving into the personality of a salesperson a little bit there, where you're going, so the marketing department will know great copywriting. They'll know great copywriting. They'll know how to transpose a message into great marketing copy. That's what they'll be able to do. What they could also be able to be great at doing is creating great sales scripts. Because the sales guy needs to have the charisma, the performance element of what they do. They need to be able to create buy-in. They need to be able to have and ooze confidence. They need to create, generate rapport pretty quickly. If they're armed with the actual material, and then they're just bringing all of these extra sort of non-tangible elements to the process, that's got to be a winning strategy. It's got to be.
I'd have thought so, but I can see a couple of blockers at the moment.
Right.
And kind of the most obvious ones that I'm seeing are salespeople not wanting to do it,
Right.
and marketing not wanting sales to do it. So when I just say I only see two blockers, they're pretty major ones. They're both overcomable. This is why I need a copywriter.
That's a great word.
I need a copywriter. but no, but the point is, I was going to make is sometimes marketing don't want salespeople to do stuff because they say stuff maybe not quite as elegantly as they would want to position it in the pure, I'm going to say, ivory tower they're sat in. But salesperson, it doesn't matter. It can be a bit raw. It can be just a bit natural because that's what they're like when they're in front of the customers all day.
Take it as stimulus. Take it as stimulus. I think that we need to go back a few steps a little bit, actually. And I think we need to go down to the idea of ideal client profile or avatar or whatever you want to call it. If marketing and sales are completely aligned on who that is, there's no room for error there. Marketing can go away and do the great work that they do, and sales can go and take that great work and put it in front of the customer. Or, marketing can put it in front of the customer and sales do a great job of backing that up and catching those signals. But, it depends on how you want to move, because I know we've both got great thoughts around our own thoughts around, do marketing send the signals or catch the signals or market for signals? We've got all that idea, which I think we'll probably touch on in a later episode, won't we?
No, I was just thinking of a weird scenario I came across the other day where marketing have got this very clear ICP of who the company should be going and sales to. Mm-hmm. The salespeople don't want to talk to those people.
Yeah, but why?
I have no idea. I haven't got to the bottom of it yet because it's not an easy one. But I think it's because the market that they would sell tons into isn't particularly sexy. It's just a bit boring, a bit dull, a bit old-fashioned. I mean, they'll make a fortune in it. But the salespeople want this kind of cool area in which they want to go and hang out. It's just wrong for them. And so we've got this conflict.
Weirdly enough, that kind of resonates with me a little bit, actually, because so in a previous life, I was a hotel buyer for tour groups, and I'd always want to go and buy from the sexy hotels, the modern ones, the ones that had, great perks, great amenities, but actually they weren't necessarily the ones that were going to be right for the group. The group that had that live inquiry, that one that was, they wanted a traditional hotel, for instance. I would go to the sexy ones and hang out with them because that's who I would love to sell to. But in fact, actually, that's not who I should have been selling to. So I learned that quite early on, actually, and that resonates with me quite a lot.
You learned the hard way.
I did learn the hard way.
There's probably a bit of a tough story behind that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to delve too deeply into that today.
Some salespeople are going to find out the hard way when it's like, that ain't working, guys. This is what we're telling you to do.
But that's great, though. That's great that they go out there and do things that don't work, because then that's just one less thing that they have to do. Because do the things that don't work enough times and you'll get to the thing that eventually does work. It's like that whole light bulb analogy.
Yeah. Go back to our two problems there, though, where we've got the marketing who don't want sales to do stuff because a word I heard was they don't do it professionally enough.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But this professional stuff that was being produced by marketing wasn't working because it was overproduced. So that's also a different story altogether.
Yeah.
But then this other thing is that a lot of salespeople are finding it difficult or don't want to produce their own stuff and communicate it. Because really, we're talking social media, aren't we here?
I think so, yeah.
They're happy to go and play golf with people. They'll happily take them out for dinner. They'll happily go and visit them in their premises. They'll happily bring them into their own factories. They'll happily talk to people all day. Yeah. Maybe even send them video, though I think that's a bit tougher.
Yeah.
But suddenly putting stuff out there on the internet,
it's tough.
It becomes.
It is. I mean, it is tough. It's a mindset shift that I think is needed amongst sales professionals, actually, and I think the culture of sales is changing massively. I mean, I remember receiving some sales training once where it was, the person kind of pointed out to me is that, was it a sales training or was it a speaker? I can't remember. It was one of the two. And the person said, as salespeople, you are literally paid for 5 minutes of genius. That's all you're paid for. You're not paid for the work. You're paid for the conversion, basically. Taking that person from prospect to customer. 5 minutes. That's what you're paid for. And that stuck with me for a long time. And I don't think that that's true anymore. Because I think we need to, as salespeople, and obviously I have to do sales all the time as part of my business, it's the nurture.
Yeah.
But you need marketing material to nurture. You need examples of great work. You need well-written case studies and testimonials that back up what you're saying, special reports. You need that content to back up what you're saying as a salesperson. And that's where it's almost like if you imagine sales and marketing as a two-man team.
Yeah.
It's like you've got the guy with the gun and then you've got the guy supplying him the rounds.
Yeah.
It's like that's what you need when it comes to like making sales. You need to be shooting the rounds, but you need someone to be handing you those rounds to put back into the gun. And it's the same with sales and marketing. You can't be just going out and just talking bullshit. You can't do it. You need that marketing collateral to back up what you're saying.
I think you do. It's that 5 minutes of genius. That sounds like an old-fashioned training.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's all about salespeople. Our job is to help people make sense of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that could be through something that I've stuck out on there on LinkedIn. It could be through an email I've sent somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It could be through a video I've sent somebody. It could be sat live with them in the moment, asking them questions, which make them go, "Oh, I need to think about that one."
Yeah.
I know you do. That's why I asked it.
Yeah.
It could be any one of those things. So you might have somebody who is naturally brilliant and has got all this insight and they can create all of that collateral and all the assets and everything themselves. Or they can have somebody feeding that stuff to make their life easier, to do that bit that they're excellent at.
I definitely think so.
I'd have thought so. I want an easy life.
I definitely, yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah. It's. I mean, you're doing all the upfront work, aren't you? Like you need all of that. You wouldn't go into battle with just a sword nowadays, would you? You need a whole artillery. You need a whole platoon of people to achieve an objective. And I keep using war analogies. I'm not quite sure why.
I don't know.
Maybe
I'll
it's topical.
pick you up on that later.
Maybe it's topical. But the idea is, coming back to sort of the idea of, SquiggleThink and what have you. It's like the buyer will go through an incredible journey of where they will need to see and be given value. They will need to see demonstration. They will need testimonials and case studies to feel like this is a good decision, logical decision. And then they're not proactive. They're gonna need someone to actually say, "Do you want to buy this? Come and join our webinar. Come and join this cohort, or put down a deposit if you want to secure your space." You need to ask for them to do something because they're not going to do it on their own. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it on their own anyway. But because they go through this massive journey, sales, I feel, need to guide. Marketing need to back up. It's like wolf packs, isn't it? You've got leaders at the front and at the back, and you've got the people in between. I think sales need to be guiding the prospect, whereas marketing needs to be backing them up so that they're not left behind.
Yeah, I think, if you picture the squiggle, then at the top end of the squiggle, it's just creating that initial awareness. That could be pure marketing. And it could be the stuff that's going out there. But it could be the salesperson who's saying, "Hey, have you thought about this?"
It could be like a strand of DNA if we're thinking of it like that, where it starts, there's 2 starts to the strand and they both cross over and there's strands in between.
But as we get further down, and you wrote buyer and I wrote on my notes here, DMU, which is decision-making unit, because it will tend to be, and again, I'm thinking B2B, more people than ever involved. Somebody's got to understand who all those people are. What are each of them trying to achieve? Finance. they need certain stuff, but the
absolutely,
engineering people need something else. The marketing guys need this, and HR are looking for something even different. So somebody's having to interpret that, then making sure, have we got the stuff that we can give to them so it makes sense for them both logically and emotionally?
Yeah,
Because the emotional side comes when, yes, I've made the logical decision, but now I'm feeling the risk of making it. And a bit kind of unsteady about the fact that if we don't do it, could we get away with it? And then I've actually not really exposed myself to anything here.
It's interesting that though. I mean, the emotion of a sale alone is just not enough to go on when we're talking in large numbers. You know, emotion might be the initial driver. You know, I'm losing money, or I don't feel this solution is I don't feel as attached to this solution anymore. The emotion could be the driver. Maybe they're looking for something a little bit more logical and not sexy.
Yeah.
That kind of fits the bill. But yeah, with emotion, it's you know, emotion is a whole thing.
Well, it could be how I'm defining emotion, because what I'm seeing again a lot with salespeople is they will be brilliant at the spreadsheets and the logic, and that's why you've got to do it, and this is why it makes sense. Okay, better than, yes, but you have presented this to an individual who is thinking, but risky though, or I'm about to retire here. Why do I want to give myself a bunch of hassle and extra work? Or this is going to cause me issues with another department that I've only just built bridges with from the last time we fell out. That's what I mean by the emotional stuff. It's the human stuff. It's the personal stuff. But we don't really look at it. So really, again, let's go with your military analogies, because I know you like them.
I do like the military.
The boots on the ground, the person who's there to actually see that and realise it's going on, they're the ones who can then make those adjustments to say, right, okay, here's the info you need. Here's the stuff that you have got to consume and make sense of. So
it's interesting. I think, yeah. I mean, the whole idea of SquiggleThink and this idea of, you know, the buying journey being so messy is just people want to think about it in a linear fashion, and it's really not. It's really not. But I think, you know, that two-man team can really help decipher it a little bit, because it's not only messy and non-linear, it's also a little bit like speaking in code. You know, you're having to kind of go, was that a signal of, do they want something more? Can I? Oh, I'm going to give them something more because I think they were just asking for it. And it's difficult to. It's not easy. It's not easy, is what I'm trying to say.
It's not, but it's our job to try and make it a little bit easier. I'm fascinated with the idea of this two-man team or four-man team. Because we've gotten so military on this.
It depends on the cost, doesn't it, though? Because you want to make sure that you're still making a profit from the sale.
Well, I'm thinking it's four-man. Yeah. And maybe this is the subject of a whole different podcast in itself, is that if we could start from scratch and we'd got unlimited budget and we were going to build this team, who would we have on it, or what functions would we have on it? I
think that's interesting. I think we should pick that up on another episode. Definitely, because I think that would be interesting to delve into. But I think for now, I think what we're trying to say, aren't we, is that, you know, this isn't just, you can't just hire one salesperson and expect them to do the whole thing.
No, and that's also a massive mistake, Benny. But I think you work a lot with founders, don't you? And they sort of go, "Oh, we need a salesperson," and you're dumping everything on that poor soul's lap, and it's like, "Oh, that's a bit unfair." You could at least give them some of the support.
Well, I mean, I'll talk about that in terms of like what we do, but you know, we've made that mistake before.
Yeah. Okay,
thinking, you know, because we got to a point where it was just me making the sales, but I was also developing the business, the business opportunities, looking for those signals and what have you, and having to hustle and do a lot of that work, and it became pretty tiresome. Yeah, we'll have to pick up on that one, because give me some time to think about that one, because the what we've done before is definitely not what we are doing now. And what we're doing now is we're definitely moving into a technology age where we're actually using technology as a salesperson.
Oh.
So I think we should maybe touch on that next time.
Okay, so we've got a mini series here. Okay,
Yeah.
We've started off explaining what SquiggleThink is, because that's our word, and hopefully people now will kind of recognise what we're talking about. It's the messy decision-making process that buyers have to go through. Sales and marketing can contribute to it. Not the mess.
Well,
they can actually contribute to the mess as well, but they can ideally make stuff a lot easier, a lot neater. They can help that. But then what we've also got to talk about as we move through this whole series, we can talk about sales and marketing teams.
Yeah.
So there's this special forces team is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Tech as a salesperson, something else we can cover. Because, of course, if we don't talk AI, then we haven't really done our job right.
Yeah, of course.
And then perhaps some of the ethics and some other elements around this, which...
Definitely, because I think you've got some interesting frameworks that we can touch on that I would definitely like to the audience or whoever's listening to this to know about, because I think they're very interesting.
Very good. So
let's pick it up next time.
If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, so it's just Paul Fernandez on LinkedIn. I am on YouTube as well. Just search for I'm Paul Fernandez. And my email is paul@thegrowthguys.co.uk as well, if you want to reach out directly. How about you? How can people get in touch with you, Fred?
LinkedIn as well. Also YouTube, Fred Copestake. I'm Fred Copestake on everything. Nobody's wanted that tag on any other platform. So that's
great for you.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought Paul Fernandez was going to be quite a unique name. It turns out it's not. There's a lot of South American footballers with my name.
Oh, very good.
Cool.
But we can stick those links into show notes anyway. So
absolutely. Cool. Till next time.
Great stuff.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Today podcast with me, your host, Fred Copestake. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please get in touch and hit subscribe. And remember, you can take the Collaborative Selling Scorecard for free to check out how your sales approach works in today's environment. You'll find it in the show notes.